Okie dokie. Just a couple of minutes to go till start a quali for this evaluation race. But by overflow, message me asking me.
2 minutes to go. 2 minutes.
Yes, crew chief. If I had any, look at that, it's been knocked down a place. If I had any thoughts about driving the BMW, so I thought I'll try and do a bit of a general. These are my thoughts about league racing, which will be somewhat meandering through this event. But the most important thing at the moment is I'm just ahead of Lord Nem here on free practice. Still, but we have been pushed down the grid slowly. But the track is maturing, so for those that don't know, in ACC, the track does rubber in the more it's used. So when we came into this session, we've got a reputation. Me and Aston chat to save the game, which we always do automatically. The track will mature and rubber in as it's used. So when we joined this session, the track was fast, and now it's up to optimum. So grip's better, so times are coming down all the time, which does play into quali, which is coming up next. But first things first, on league races, free practice. There's usually a race practice server that's available for a week before each round.
The guy ahead has just done a 2:00.8.
And that'll be mentioned on the Discord. So you need to really use the Discord if you're going to do league races. A lot of info will be on there for you and a chance to interact with your fellow drivers. So make sure you use the practice server. You can work on a setup. We'll get to setups in a bit. More importantly, you'll be able to work out your fuel for both quali and the race. You want quali, people do it different ways. I prefer to go out for 6 minutes, come in and go out again. Depends on how busy the track's going to get. Not so obvious on this one, but one of the things you'll see during quali is everybody piles out the pits at the same time. They're all nose to tail, and they all drive around the lap, and then they all have to stop virtually at the end of a lap to create some space so they can have a clean run. So I usually leave it until everybody's at least halfway around, and then I'll leave the pits. And by the time I've gotten round to the start of the lap, they've just cleared. They'll have just cleared the final corner, and I'll just be a few seconds behind them. What I'm trying to do is give myself plenty of space. I don't want a car right on my backside. I don't want a car that I'm driving into, which happened last night during quali, because we're going now. Push it on. I caught him for 2 seconds within a few corners, so it didn't go too well.
Its exit looks clear. Okay, Stevie, we've got 13 minutes to do the business.
We got an optimum track for quali.
Take it easy.
So yeah, you'll have a week, and then to practice on the race. There's just one or two servers usually that set up with race conditions, which they do from a JSON file. So it's very hard for you to create the same race conditions offline. But also, what is difficult to simulate is if you get a wet race. So they'll set up a wet race, but invariably you'll find the practice servers are a bit empty. You get slightly different conditions in a race when there's 20, 30 cars on a track clearing the rain. And there was a race a few seasons back at Kailami where they'd set it to drizzle. It was very light rain. And in the actual race conditions, there were so many cars on track. They were clearing all that rain and making it pretty dry. And it was a nightmare because it wasn't what we simulated in practice. So our setup was terrible. We were all over the show. We had mini spins, and that was where I fell out of love with the McLaren 720. So you got the practice server, which will simulate race conditions. And then when the race servers boot up, they usually start at about an hour or so. You caught me out then. Before the race. So you got an hour to kind of dial yourself in before quali will start, and quali will always start at 7:30 UK time. It'll be 15 minutes, just like this is in this evaluation race. Then there'll be a short gap, which everybody argues about, because some people want time to go to the loo, and some people get fed up waiting for 3 or 4 minutes. And then the actual race itself will start. Try and do a decent lap now. was actually a pretty good T1, that. Because I thought it was going to spin. When you're right on the edge, you know you've done a decent job. And the other thing to think about when you're practicing is don't focus totally on quali. We see plenty of people come in and do a season, and what we call hot lap specialists. They can quali really well and get really high up, but they cannot race. And within 3 or 4 laps, they've either sent themselves off or been involved in an incident at the back of the field. And you see quite a lot of hot lap specialists as well, often quit races because they give up when they're down the back, rather than thinking, I need to learn how to be able to do a long race. So all races, nearly all races are an hour. This season, Season X, they're all an hour, which is odd. Usually there's a couple of 90-minute races in, a bit longer. But you go to be able to race. And if you are coming in at a lower tier, the most important thing you want to master is not going off. If you don't go off in a tier 9, tier 10 race, you'll get a good result. Because the inexperience of your competitors, they'll have a lot of accidents.
10 minutes.
And they'll lose the car and they'll go off track. So if you can stay on track, that's the first thing you've got to master. You will get a decent result in a race. And you can build from there. What have we done? 202, dear oh dear, a bit slow.
E12. The guy behind has just done a 202.79.
That was brilliant. Doing alright then. Cut too much curb. Didn't get a penalty but lost momentum.
Fastest lap for McCluskey, 157.85.
57's quite quick around Silverstone. I can't break 2 minutes yet. At 2:17 at the moment.
Yellow flag in sector 3.
We're going to get through village, which is easier said than done.
Off again. Green flags out round the circuit.
The leader's just done a 157.73. Your brake temperatures are fine.
Ooh. Take it off. Pipe overflows. The original question was about the BMW.
That's your quickest lap in this session. We're running on fumes, mate.
Let's get round. It was about what car to drive. It was asked about the BMW. So there are 3 main classes of car. That's too out of gear. Concentrating and a spun, because I wasn't concentrating. 3 main types of car in ACC. Front engine.
Sector 2 is now yellow.
Mid engine. Oh, we need to go quick, I think, before these cars come round. And rear engine. 66 is pretty close.
There's traffic behind. Take care rejoining. Blue flag. Your brakes are cold. Be careful. Green flag in sector 2.
It's Lord Name, I should take him out. So your front engine cars are the Bentley in front of me, Aston Martin, your Mercedes, your BMWs. The advantage of the front engine cars is you can be really aggressive on the curbs. The weight of the engine at the front means the car is very stable going over curbs.
Get some heat into them.
So it allows you to be super aggressive, so which is a big advantage, especially if you're relatively new and your accuracy perhaps isn't that great and you might not always hit the apexes
Sector 3.
perfectly well. See this big sausage curb here
Green flag, sector
that's just
3.
passed on the right. If I hit that in this car, I'd be curtains. But I'd have a chance of getting over it in a front engine car in one piece. So you'd be amazed at how much curbs you can eat in a front engine car. Can't take the mickey too much though. And you need to be maybe try and do a bit of research in the car you're choosing. So the Mercedes, its front engine, has a reputation of murdering its drivers. The BMW, it's M4 now, isn't it? Replaced the M6. And Nils Najux, who's a pro esports racer and sponsored by BMW, did a bit of a review of it. And he pointed out that
Incident clear.
the M4
5 minutes left.
is a very, very powerful car. In order to execute the balance of power for it, they made them turn the engine down quite a lot. So it's not got a lot of power out the engine, which is deliberate to try and balance
B17.
the efficiency that car's got. So when you've got, and the McLaren 720S had the same thing done to it. It was very, very powerful, very fast. So in order to balance it, they really turn the engine down. So in both those cars' cases, it's all about conservation of speed and momentum and getting through the corners without slowing down too much, which can be a bit tricky. So that is perhaps the Achilles heel of the BMW. To be honest, I've only driven it briefly
Tire temps are all good.
in the fun races when it was first released. I've not really driven it since. But I know one of the endurance teams that raced for BeesWax, thank you, they took the M4 and they were complaining about it by the third race. Especially Toaster Tom, who's very quick. He was grumbling at length that it felt really slow. But it depends what level you are competing at, to be honest. If you are, like me, in one of the lower tiers, it doesn't matter what car you drive. They are all balanced to power, and it's more about you as a driver rather than what the car can do, and it's whether you enjoy the car. Oh, I've lost a lot of time this lap. Out of the front engine cars, the one that's very popular and very easy to drive and has a good starting car, and we used it for a long time, is the Aston Martin. Very forgiving and very pliable, and will go over those curbs no problem. It's just, I've driven an Aston Martin once in the real world and it carries across to the game. It was the dullest car I'd ever driven in my life. It wasn't exciting is what I found with the Aston Martin. So that is the only perhaps downside of it. 19th place, oh dear. Mind you, I was 20th last night, I think.
Okay, Stevie. 5 minutes of fuel remaining. 5 minutes. Your brake temperatures are fine, mate.
Then you move to mid-engine cars. So with the front engine cars, you can eat the curbs. With mid-engine cars, if you get too aggressive with the curbs, you'll spin and die. What you find with front engine cars is because of the weight of the engine at the front, their common problem is they understeer. So you won't get around the corners. Mid-engine cars
Yellow flag, stay sharp.
are much better at rotating
It's clear. Green flag.
and getting around tight corners.
Minutes left. 2 minutes.
So this chicane will be a nightmare in an Aston. Well, in the Ferrari, which I'm in now, it's joyful.
Yellow flag.
Also, the Ferrari accelerates really well. And I found,
Green flag.
after a long time driving the Aston, I really adapted well to the Ferrari. I much preferred the agile nature of it. Oh, I'm wide. Oh, it's all over the show. And then lap. All over the show.
Alright, Stevie, you need to watch the track limits. Very little fuel left. Yellow flag. The leader has just done a 157.55. Green flag, you're clear.
So just proved me wrong there. The Ferrari went out, lost its shape. There's one thing I'm bad at, by the way, it's qualification. So yeah, your mid-engine cars, much more agile, much more able to rotate. You've got the Audi, the Lamborghini, the Ferrari.
20th place.
The new Audi that's come out is really good. I'm just, at the moment, I'm still like 1 second slower in it than I am in the Ferrari, but I think I could get it back to the same sort of time very, very quickly. So I think I could use either one of them. But the old Audi used to kill you if you so much as looked at a curb. But the new one is really, really nice to drive, and it's a very popular car for the upcoming season.
Green flag in sector 3.
So we finished quali. I've got this lap to finish. So one of the big important rules you'll get in the briefing is don't use chat during quali of a race. And just because the checkered flags come out doesn't mean that quali's over, because I'm on a lap and so is everybody behind me.
You're clear. Incident clear. Yellow flag sector 3.
Well, because I'm yakking away,
Green flag in sector 3.
the time's not particularly brilliant. And the other problem with a mid-engine car is if it gets into a spin, there's not a lot you can do about it.
Sector 3, yellow flag.
I know this because I did spin a mid-engine car once.
Sector 3 is green.
And the final class of car is rear engine, which narrows it down to one car, the Porsche 911. Now the Porsche, I'm a big Porsche fan because I own one. But the Porsche is a nightmare to drive. The engine is at the back of the car, which is what it's known for. But it means it's a very, very pitch sensitive. And to control the pitch of the car, not good lap, requires a lot of finesse. You've got to be good on the brakes and good on the throttle. And very, very good at manipulating both of those. And it's not a beginner's car. It's a very tricky car to drive.
Walker, bringing you live, uninterrupted commentary as it happens.
But it requires...
And it's a beautiful day for motor racing.
Shut up, Murray. It's fairly difficult for beginners, but a lot of people swear by it. The advantage of the Porsche is the weights over the rear wheels, so you can really boot the throttle and get away with it. If you try and boot the throttle on some of the other cars, they'll just spin out on you straight away. You've got to be very gentle with the throttle. That's what usually pays off in ACC, is to be smooth and gentle with your inputs. If you're all over the show like this, the car will just spin out on you. And there's all sorts of setup tricks.
29. The air temp is 23 Celsius.
So a long wait to get to race. I wasn't really paying attention much during quali, so we are down in 20th. Which is where I was last night, Aaron. It was only 23. It was on server tonight, so that's a bit disappointing. We'll see where we finish up. See how much carnage there may be ahead of us. One of the so those are the three categories of cars. So if you're with the BMW, which is what Byte Overflow was interested in, it's about preserving momentum, but be aware you can eat a lot of curbs. Setups. A lot of people buy setups. If you are just starting out, if you're in Tier 8, 9, 10, don't bother. Don't waste your money. You're going to get more time from learning how to drive your car that you've selected properly than you will do from any setup. In ACC, if you're not aware, if you go into setups at any track, you'll have a safe setup, an aggressive, and a wet setup. They are all custom to that track. They're not just a generic safe setup. It's a safe setup for that track. So you'd be perfectly fine to start either with safe or aggressive and just go from there. And then when you get more experienced, and you understand, you can feel, oh, I'm getting oversteer on this corner or I'm getting understeer, then there's guides that you'll find online quite easily that will tell you what you need to adjust on the car to solve understeer or to solve oversteer. But if you just jump in and buy a setup, they're aimed at people who are already reasonably quick, but to get them those few extra tenths, and they're usually quite edgy sometimes. They'll have a lot of oversteer on them very often. The rear end will come out a lot, and they're expecting you to be able to manipulate the throttle with a great deal of finesse so you don't lose the car. So buying a setup may not be the best option straight away. Sometimes somebody will share you a setup and it makes the car much more stable and easy to drive, and they're a godsend when you get them. But in general, if you are just starting out, just stick with safe or aggressive and just take it from there. And you'll see people, you might be able to see some people in this race where I'm saying you can see the lines aren't great. They're not using the full width for the track, and I was like that when I started out. And you'll see their approach to the corner is kind of all over the show. There was somebody last night who unfortunately clipped me, but he was on and off the brake. And if you're on and off the brake going into a corner, you're doing it wrong. It's nothing to do with the setup of the car. So there's options to improve your own driving. And there's plenty of material online on YouTube as well to help you improve your driving and get a bit better. Driving, what else? I'm going to cover off here. We've done all the different types of cars, race tips. I was going to talk as well about evaluation races like this one and the hot stints. Certainly on the hot stints, don't go mad. Don't do 300 or 400 laps on the hot stint servers to set your times, because are you going to be able to do that every week for a race? Because if you go crazy, it's very easy to get sucked in. We all do it, of trying to improve your time and where am I on the table, because that's why we're in a league race, because we're competitive. But if you overdo it and you push yourself really hard on the hot stints, you're going to end up in a tier that's perhaps a little too high for you, because you're not able to do those 400 laps practice every week. And you're going to end up being whooped every week and getting depressed about it. So you don't want that. You want to be in a tier that you're going to be competitive in. And you want to focus more on that rather than doing a super duper hot stint time and ending out of position. And now, practice race, evaluation race, league race, they're all the same. There'll be an hour-long race, but we do a full formation lap. And a couple of seasons ago, they took away the formation lap, and I was one of those complaining, because the formation lap gave it a bit of a sense of occasion for me. It's not just another online lobby race or anything. It's a league race, so you got to do your formation lap. Plus, you can practically warm up your tyres and brakes, which is pretty key if you can get it going. So ways of warming your tyres up. One is to ride the brakes, so hold the brake pedal in while you got the throttle down, and that'll give a lot of friction into your brakes. Of course, there's the old weave in the car. Makes a little bit of difference. You won't manage to get your tyres fully up to pressure on a formation lap, but you can try. And saw this actually last night. It was a good example last night, actually. I had a problem last night. There was no audio of the game, which I've not even checked tonight, actually. Whoops. I think it's there. It should be there. Follow the widget. Somebody didn't follow the widget last night. They ended up going ahead of the car they actually qualified behind. So they were one position up on the grid. And you get an instant drive-through penalty as soon as the race starts. And an hour-long race, a drive-through is a tough thing to come back from. I'm going to go and check now. Got myself paranoid. I can hear myself. The game's there. And as I said last night, don't crash on the formation lap. You will damage your car, I've been told. I've not done it myself, but others have. So don't be too aggressive in warming your tyres up. Oh yeah, but there was a chat message there. Didn't see any of them. Well, I love this, haven't you? There's loads of people chatting. Sorry, I didn't see any chat messages there. I've got browser up and it's not showing me any chat messages. Hello, everybody. So yeah, follow the widget. The one that's telling me I'm going to be teleported in 27 seconds. There you go. There you go. There's also plenty of tips in chat. Now what always happens as well is you're following your widget, you're nicely in the green zone.
Follow car number 16.
And then it tells you to get in position for the start, and you have to absolutely floor it to get there. So don't be put off by that. Absolutely hammer it as soon as the arrow comes up. And then you'll just catch up with a bunch. You slow down nicely, get into the right zone. And I think that's what put somebody off last night. They didn't realise. Now, I did say this to somebody. Follow the widget no matter what the start. If you're inside another car like this Lamborghini that's going way too slow, you'll ghost even after the start of the race. And then when you separate, you'll unghost. Or it's then they'll get the penalty if they're really out of position, not you. Focus now. This Lambo's going really slow. Come on, Lambo, get a move on. You don't want to be too close usually to somebody at the start.
Go, nail it.
Now don't do what we just did in front of us. See, they've hit each other. And they've crashed straight away. Don't change lanes at the start. Stay where you are. If you try and move to the right to make a move, somebody else will move to the left and you'll hit each other just like we just did. It's an hour-long race, not a one-lap race. And it's not a public lobby. So, thanks for that, everybody. You get a perfect example there of what not to do at the start of a race. And there's a really good video by Aris, who works for Kunos, about how to follow somebody in a race. And I've pointed this video out to a few people, and they all get a bit uppity. I said, I know how to follow somebody in a race. But he talks about braking points and how you can't use your normal braking point when you're following somebody, because you'll just drive into them. It's called laws of physics. I think it should be mandatory watching, really, for everybody who does league racing, but maybe I should focus on trying to get through that one. So, I'm very good at getting through lap one without getting killed. Mainly because I'm not trying to get past everybody. So you give yourself plenty of time and space to watch me get killed in the next corner. To be able to react to what's going on ahead of me. Because you can't win a race if you've been spun around
18th.
and are at the back of the field after lap 2. He's got a bit wide. To watch for the rejoin.
Car left.
Now we've got a dangerous situation here.
Still there.
These two cars don't really fit in there. Oh, hell, he spun me out. Oh, you caused that then.
Pay attention to track limits. Please, Stevie. Sector 2 is yellow.
Said it was a bad situation, and he proved me right. We'll soon catch him up again. Still pretty close together, actually. There's no big gaps in the field.
guy in front is Miller.
Sometimes people are a bit... They won't let a place go. Like that guy in the Ferrari. He'd gone off, he'd gone massively wide, he'd done a rejoin. But he's like, I am not going backwards. Overcooked that bit. Right. 2.5 second gap. Yeah, I didn't put it in the wall. Now, when Morphy says Eval failed, does he mean who for? Because I didn't hit anybody. Hey, it's Miller at the back. He went flying past me last night.
B22.
He's off onto the grass.
Shh. Don't say anything. My tyres will be fine.
The gap behind is now 0.8.
That was an interesting one. Went straight on at the chicane.
Left side.
Bit of a cheeky. Bit of a cheeky move.
Clear left.
Cheeky move.
The gap in front is now 1.0 seconds.
Oh, I am terrible at village. Worst ever at going through village.
That's a new fastest lap for McCluskey, 158.83.
All over the show here. Hey up. That's a different way to go. Was that Sednan? Got the place though.
B20. Sector 2's green.
Honda's one of the unpopular choices, so we're still looking at cars. By the way, everybody, I have a top tip. If you're racing against Serene Logic this year, if you put a... where's he going? A bunch of trees or a large rock at the side of a track, he's bound to drive into them.
On your left. Clear left. Car left. Clear left.
And then he'll go out of the race. He'll be alright.
Car left.
I don't know where that red car was going then. Is it Miller? Some curious rejoins going on then. Well, Miller shot past me last night. Cost me some time, that did, trying to avoid a rejoin that looked a bit scary.
P18.
Of course, one of the number one tips for the reason I usually do okay on lap 1 is just like in the real world.
The gap in front is now 2.9.
The real trick is figure out what the other driver's going to do and then avoid it.
You're pulling away from the guy behind. The gap's now 2.4.
And the advantage of league racing is you get to know your fellow drivers and how they'll drive. So on Morphy, for example, you know to avoid at all costs. Otherwise, certain death will follow. What you can also do is you get to know drivers on the Discord forum. That helps. You get to race against them regular. But you can also have a look on the stewards section of the AOR website when your league gets going, and you can look at the incidents that have occurred in your tier, and then you can see what the other drivers are doing when they got involved with each other. So if you've got somebody who's hyper aggressive and the incident was, you know, sort of caused by them trying to go for a gap that wasn't there, you can safely presume they aren't going to change their spots overnight. So if you're coming up against them, you'll be able to bear that in mind on how you treat them and how much space you give them. Because I've had league races where I've had like a hot lapper come charging up behind me, full of themselves, desperate to get past, does a crazy lunge, but I knew it was coming, so I left space, and they
17th place.
took themselves out 2 corners later in the back of the field again. So sometimes fighting for a place, if it's just not worth it, it's pressure time. That wasn't great. On and off a throttle. Says Serene Logic, he'll be on the podium or something at some point, I reckon. Miller's closing up. Slow down a bit too much there. Where are we? Oh, we're 17th somehow. There's quite a gap now between the front of these guys and the main field. About
Okay,
2 bunches.
Let this guy distract you.
I see a Ferrari, but I don't think it's the one that cut across us. Might be. That's an early pit there for... Is it Pleasel? I think it was.
16th place.
Lambo caught a lot of grass then. Miller's up my bum. He's in that OP BMW, isn't he? Oh, he drove into it. Definitely lost momentum then. That's a very defensive line. Is he cooling his tyres?
Hold your line. Clear left. Come on, keep pushing.
Went a bit deep there, didn't I? Over defending. It's Morphy whinging again.
P17.
Next to be complaining about my OPIs. I'm overpowered because I got 2 of them. Ooh, that was a bit... That wasn't very cool then from that Lambo. Bit of curb. Nobody noticed. Ooh, kiss. Oh, there's a bit of afters there, I've heard.
The gap behind is now 2.3. Tidy. Please, Stevie.
No, we haven't. All you think that, crew chief. See, what I'd say about this Lambo here ahead of us, he's darting across the track quite a lot. It's quite dangerous because I'm not expecting anybody to move that quickly across the track. It's wasting time as well if you're darting around all over the show. Making it more likely that I'll catch him.
There's got to be a chance here. Keep harrying him.
There's a slow car ahead.
Trying to get a bit of a tow here. I need to try and get past him because Mazzilli is closing in.
On your right. On your right. Hold your line. He's still there. Clear right. Hold your nerve, just keep it smooth. No mistakes. Clear left. Car right. Hold your line. Right side's clear. Nice pass.
Clear on the left.
In case you was wondering, in a Lambo, it's free wide, so I couldn't turn in.
B16.
Slow car ahead.
Don't think he knew I was coming either. Some space now. Oh, the other things to think of if you're a complete newbie as well, there's an app called Crew Chief, which is pretty much essential. Crew Chief's really handy. He's the one doing all the calls about where the cars are. And reminding me how slow I am every now and then. So Dunkel is behind us. I think he's slightly out of position now because he had some sort of big spin. So he might have a bit of extra speed over us, I don't know. Bearing in mind, I did qualify virtually last.
Place.
Ferrari's gone massively wide behind us. That wasn't great. That wasn't great at all. Ferrari's vanished. Dunkel got that well wrong.
3.5 seconds.
He's gone. Maybe you followed my atrocious bad line through Maggots and Beckett's. Well. He's back on track, but the gap's now 4 seconds.
Yellow flag.
My tyres are getting tired.
Green flag, you're clear.
Everything's going to pot here. Braking's going bad and everything. .207. Last lap for Dunkel. Whoa, terrible again.
The gap to Miller ahead is increasing. It's now 10 seconds.
I'm not surprised the way I'm taking Maggots and Beckett's. I hope I get the name of these corners right, by the way. I'm terrible at track name corners. A long way up the road, looking at the mini-map. Dunkel's head maybe dropped a little bit, 7 seconds gap. Five minutes to pit window to maximise my tyres.
All right, Stevie, keep it nice and smooth. Come on, let the race come to us. V14.
More top tips for league racing. For brake markers, never use anything that can be demolished.
It is now 6.7 seconds.
By a car. So never use any boards or the what are normally in the real world polystyrene blocks. Because good chance they won't survive a race. And this is especially true for the pit entrance. The pit marker boards are often a victim, sometimes of malicious intent. Last season, unbelievably, somebody deliberately knocking them down. But you should never be using anything like that as a brake marker. And when you're doing practice, you should be establishing what your brake markers are for the pit entrance, because the game has had an upgrade recently. And if you speed in the pits too much, it's an instant disqualification and you're out. So it's also important to not knock off speed limiter when you're in the pits. Which in the GT3s, that'll happen if you change to second gear, so it's very easy to do. Especially if you're panicking a bit. And also when it comes to pit stops, evaluate if there's damage on your car and if you want it fixing. So at the moment, I've got no handling problems or anything. And if it was just 2-3 seconds, it's not worth doing.
Has the lead.
My lap times aren't very good.
There's a car stick pit lane. Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Is he trying to make an overtaking move in the middle of Maggots and Beckett's? It's certainly not going to make it easy for you, mate. Definitely not.
Still there. Still there. Still there. Still there. Clear right.
It's out of gear. Bit arrogant, that. But you get that when you get mixed tiers. Just try and get past you as quickly as they can, but they do it in a place sometimes where you'd be insane to overtake.
McCluskey is pitting from position 1. He should come out a little way behind you. The leader, McCluskey, is pitting.
So, got no damage for the pits. Even Gobi trying to overtake me in an insane place. Gap to Dunkel's up to 8 seconds now. So he must be having some really bad laps because mine are terrible. They overcooked that. At least one more lap.
behind is now 8.1 seconds. P11.
Who's this? It's McCluskey. Goby.
Okay, Stevie. The next car is McCluskey.
Not quite for the lead of a race, but not far off for these guys, I think. Oh, possibly they could be winning. No, Bradbury's also pit boxed.
That's half distance. The fuel's okay.
Wait with that.
The leader is...
Zabo is pitting.
Oh, I was a bit late with the turn in then. It's Manzini behind us, but he's done his pit stop, so he's going to be a lot quicker.
Left side. Clear left.
Probably just lost concentration for a moment, and that was it.
Right, the guy ahead of us is Manzini.
Got it in. So the brake marker here is the second pointy bit on the right. Slow down.
To the pit lane to make a stop.
Well before the line.
Pits into clear air. When we leave the pits, we think we'll be in P18. A few seconds ahead of P19.
So I do all manual pit stops because it's a real time saver. If you get it right. First trick to get right is to actually stop in the right place. Which I often don't. Oh, it's pretty much bang on then. Oh, wow. So we got plain 30 seconds. And I'm on a manual starter for the engine. So what I can do is I can put the throttle in a bit. So as soon as I hit the ignition, we'll be rolling forward. Don't start the engine before you come down off a jack, so it turns it off again for you, because that's cheating. 5 seconds to go. We're away. You can also do is you can just try and remove
Clear on the pit exit.
the pit lane limiter manually, just a couple of yards before the line. Getting a little smidge in there as well. You know, watch out for now is cold tyres.
Has the luxury of entering the pits in first place.
They're quite a bit below 27.5 psi. Got 8 seconds Lecoq behind us in a Honda. That slide on the front there. Oh dear, that wasn't good.
Miller is now in the lead.
Miller's leading.
New fastest lap for McCluskey, 158.33.
Not being rude to Miller, I strongly suspect he's not pitted yet. It's definitely a lesson on how not to go through village. The Cox really catches up quickly. Lezel's 20 seconds down there now.
That's half fuel. You've used half your fuel.
Somebody's got to stop go 30.
B18.
Four-wheel slide then. He'll get that waved, unless he's gone back in for it already.
Okay, Stevie. The next car is Thompson.
Or are there no CODs on this race? Keep asking me to be a COD, but I refuse to take on responsibility. I spend all day with responsibility for lots of people. I don't want more when I get home.
The gap behind is now 5.7.
He's really hauling it in. About a second or two a lap. It's a big speed difference.
New fastest lap for Manzini, 158.18.
And in this class of car, Silverstone's too open to be able to defend really hard. There's a big difference in pace between you. Tyres just about up to pressure now. And temperature. It's going with Mazzilli's in the pits. I was just doing his first stop. I thought he was... That's curious. I'm confused.
B16.
21.7. However, it's 2 minutes for the cop. So I'm still going a second a lap faster than us. .201, of course, I meant 201.7. It's just a matter of time before the cock catches us.
Has the lead.
Miller is pitting. Behind is catching. The gap's now 4.6 seconds.
I was about to say exactly the same thing. Sure, 1.5. So I'm doing good times for me.
Could really blow the race wide open.
Lid dent, lost time. Still up though, a little bit. When they actually use you for braking, Serene. I've seen that as well. mind being used as a brake marker. I've seen a certain somebody use another car to get around a corner. I'm pushing hard. Keep improving. As long as these fresh tyres last. Times will drop off when these tyres wear in a bit. Another top tip really, if you're getting wheel spin, change up a gear and they should stop it.
That's 20 minutes to go, 20 minutes. Okay, Stevie, there's a car exiting the pits, heads up. Sector 1 is 0.8.
Unfortunately, he's not as fast as his best intermediate. Okay, let's have a look at the qualifying time so far.
1.4.
Well, that's actually slower than his best qualifying lap today.
You're a second off the pace in Sector 3.
Plaza's just been into
Plaza in the gap pit.
serve a penalty. Don't think I'm catching him. It's 3 and a bit seconds now, Chili Cock. I'm doing PBs, but it's not enough. The green car off in the distance is a lap down. Oh, up. Track in there somewhere.
We've been warned about track limits.
No, we haven't. We've got no warnings. Everything I do is totally legal. Another improvement.
E14.
Slowing down a bit now this lap. 17 minutes to go. Lecoq's 2.9 seconds.
Alright, Steve.
Uh-oh.
You're reeling. Plaza in. The gap's now 1.
Oh, just totally the wrong place.
Car right. Clear right.
Slow lap this one.
The gap behind is now 2.0. Minutes left.
They got by Honda. I wonder what happened to that Ferrari that caused all that ruckus at the start.
The gap to Plaza ahead is now 1.8.
Getting closer. Improved as well. 21-1. 201-1.
14th.
Very clunk that curve then. Unfortunately, our pace is very evenly matched, so catching maybe one thing and passing maybe another. There's still 0.8 seconds in it, and now Leacock is 1 second behind.
Gap to Plaza. Ahead is now 0.8. Okay, Stevie, 10 minutes to go. That's 10 minutes left. Come on, let's put this hard work to good use. The gap behind is now 0.9.
Very wide there. I missed the apex by a long way.
There's a slow car ahead.
Hey, it's an OP McLaren in front of me. Oh, I didn't need that.
Gaining on the car ahead at sector 1.
Okay, Stevie, lap times are pretty consistent. Come on, keep pressing him, force that mistake.
He went very wide there. Whoa, he stopped.
Clear on the right.
Oh, what happened then? Oh, we're close then. Don't expect him to stop like that. Six minutes to go and it's less than a second now.
The gap in front has increased to 14 seconds. Okay, Stevie, hold your nerve, just keep it smooth, no mistakes.
We should ever race against the Honda, because nobody ever takes it. I'm not sure where his strong points are.
Thirteenth place.
Plaza's just dropping backwards. Strange.
Okay, Stevie. 5 minutes to go. 5 minutes left.
Oh, big wheel spin then. Big wheel spin. That cost me a lot of time, that did. Just got a bit off track there. Oh, he's gone wide. He's lost it.
The gap behind is now 1.0.
Was a bit of a break. He went wide on the grass. He's behind Fox. Could well be fuel. He's still running. Oh, even think about it, sunshine. About a million miles back then. Fox is going to make a big dive. Got a lot of overspeed. See if I can get him to overcommit in the wrong place, really. Just got faster out of Maggis and Beckett, I think.
Car left.
Got him on the outside.
Still there. Still there. Hold your line. Still there. Clear left.
Okay, we're grinding out then.
Okay, Stevie. We've gone out of track limits. Keep it between the lines.
Robust defense.
Use all the track. Force him to find the gap. Just 2 minutes left, 2 minutes to go.
That's too early on the throttle then, I think. Are we not on the last lap yet?
Give it a final push.
Say if it is the last lap, it will end in tears. He'll try something.
Car right. He's still there. Clear right. Come on, don't let him get away.
Oh, he's going to lose 2 places on last lap. No, he's going to get hit.
Your left. Car left.
Well, that's one way to get the places back, isn't it?
Yellow flag. Incident clear. Green flag.
How many places did I lost 2 places there by ramming?
Eval has finished off.
The start of the penultimate lap.
They're over. They're over. Definitely blown places now. Is it over or is it not over? Somebody using chat before race is finished. No, P2 finished right behind me on the line. So I'm not sure about that. I don't know.
P18. There we go, it's over. Bring it back round.
Well, that didn't end well, did it really? Definitely felt like a punt to pass to me, but I'll see. I'll gotta give the old replay file to the CODs. Yes, of all the people not to hit, it's somebody who knows all the CODs. So there you go. Hopefully the tips for bike overflow, I think we covered most things, were useful. And that's the end of that eval race. Another one tomorrow. See what's occurring tomorrow. If I'm busy or not, might make it, might not. Who knows? But that's the end of this eval race. I'll go off now and watch all those murders I got. I can't see, unless they've quit the server already, any Ferraris ahead of me. So whoever that Ferrari was at the start, must be Dunkel. He's the only other Ferrari in the race. There we go. Anyway, there you go. That's the end of that one. I'll catch you all later. Nice to see you all. Tried to follow chat as much as I could. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.